Has been on the old road course here, but it's a wonderful old track, I tell you.
What a place then. Bit in the middle of nowhere here, but great countryside, lots of lakes and stuff around here, so it's a very pleasant area, the Irish Hills area as it's called.
Yeah, also lots of beautiful lakes and wooded areas and sort of small rolling hills there. It really is a gorgeous part of the world. Patrick, of course, who owns the two Brahma cars, he is based in Jackson, Michigan, only 10 minutes away from the racetrack here. We're about an hour west of Detroit on the way towards Chicago. But in the sort of the heart of Michigan, the lower part of Michigan, the southern part of Michigan, but not quite midway between Detroit and Chicago.
A popular part of the world for the PPG kart series. They spend quite a lot of the summer up in this part of the United States with the various racetracks, and indeed the next racetrack not that far away in mid-Ohio. But let's just get back to what's happening in the race for the moment. They've been touring around behind the yellow on the yellow flag behind the pace car for a while. It is Patrick Carpentier who leads the race, but the man you're looking at, Alex Zanardi, down in 5th place at the moment, but he came in for an extra stop, so that's why he dropped a few places. Mark Blundell is in 6th place, right behind him, so that'll be interesting to see how they both get on relatively. Ahead of them, they've got Herter, Tracy, Pruitt, and then, as I say, Patrick Carpentier, who is our race leader. I wonder if he's going to have the right sort of pace once we go green. Christian Fittipaldi's car with the onboard camera still working, being taken past a Lamborghini Diablo. They can't be very common out here in the United States, but they've still got the blowers out on the track at the moment. They're still making sure that the track is fully clean after the incident with Bobby Rahal, and in fact for Christian Fittipaldi's incident as well. Watching the pace car bring them round across the start-finish line now. I don't know if we're going to get any indication of how much longer they're going to be going around. Still looks like they're going to be going a bit further. Certainly not just one lap to go, there's a bit more than that still. Carpentier is the car now behind the pace car. And then we see Scott Pruitt. Art Meyer is next on the road, Michel Jourdain, but then it's Paul Tracy. Now, Paul Tracy, of course, who's had a bit of a bad run of things just recently. Penske still looking for win at number 100. He's had 3 victories this year, Paul Tracy. They were all on the oval tracks, but he's hanging in there at the moment, isn't he?
He certainly is. He's looking better and better as this afternoon goes along. He's been running pretty strongly. He's not been losing much ground to the race leaders at all. And as far as he's concerned, he knows that Michael Andretti is out of the race, and he knows that Greg Moore is out of the race. And the more points he can pick up on his fellow title contenders, the happier he will be. So at this stage of the race, he just wants to make sure he stays in contention. Once he's on the race on the same lap as the race leader, he'll be in a position to challenge in the closing stages if his car is good enough. And I think they'll have probably made a few little minor adjustments to that car during each of the pit stops, and hopefully make it handle a little bit better, a little bit more consistently as the race goes along. And Paul Tracy doing a very good job here. He's moved as well way up into contention. He was certainly struggling during practice and qualifying here, not at all happy after qualifying. He was saying he'd much rather have a Lola than a Penske. At that stage he qualified slower than Adrian Fernandez, who'd done a nice job for the Tasman team, and Paul Tracy was just not happy. They said, we're flat out around this racetrack, we just got no speed. And the team was really scratching their heads to try and come up with some reasons for that. And they've made a lot of changes overnight. They came out this morning for the warm-up, and Paul's a little bit happy, I think, after the race morning warm-up. And he's run very consistently so far, and we've got 138 laps in the books now. We are over halfway, there's still plenty of time to go. But Paul Tracy has done a very, very workmanlike job this afternoon.
Well, he's never won the race here at Michigan at all. He's raced here some 6 times, finished in 2nd place back in 1992 and led quite a lot of that race.
Yeah, he did a great battle with his countryman Scott Goodyear on that occasion, and he came out 2nd best there. But nevertheless, as you say, a very good run. His first debut here at the racetrack ended in a crash, so we'll be hoping for better than that this afternoon.
Here they come, they're getting ready for the restart on lap number 139 after a long, long yellow flag when we lost Bobby Rahal. Now finally we get things underway once again, and it's Patrick Carpentier, the Canadian, who's leading them away, and the pace car into the pits. Away they go, accelerating hard as they come across the line, and Carpentier trying to open up the advantage over Scott Pruitt, with Paul Tracy up amongst the traffic. There he is, the Penske finding its way past the car of Michel Jourdain. Brian Herter in the white and black car is not far behind Paul Tracy, And remember, he's in the same team as Bobby Rahal, and just remember how well Bobby was going before his accident. So keep an eye on Brian Herter, finished second here last year, chasing after Paul Tracy. Behind him is Alex Zanardi and then Mark Blundell. Those two just a little further back. They've also got to try and find their way through some of this slower traffic. There, Tracy. There is Brian Herter, and there is Alex Zanardi. So Zanardi now beginning to close up to the back of Brian Herter's car once again. And we'll get an idea of just how quickly Zanardi can run at this point. There is the progress that Paul Tracy has made. Started in 18th place, and he's come up to be running now in 3rd position. Not quite a dramatic comeback as Michael Andretti, but still not bad at all. Now, as we mentioned just now, the yellow flag caused by the accident of Bobby Rahal. We've got Bobby in the pits now.
Tell us what happened. Just lapping Vitolo, and he, you know, I guess he didn't see me, or he just started to move up a bit, and I was, you know, coming up to lap him, and I just got a little bit. I'm always on a high line anyway. The car is quite good up there, and he just moved me enough that it got me into the marbles, and as I said, that's all she wrote.
Now, your injuries, you bruised your hip over on the right side. That's about the extent of it?
Yeah, it's a real testament to these cars. I mean, I hit a ton. I mean, just cleaned the whole right side of the car off. And, you know, here I am. I'm going to Scotland tonight to play golf tomorrow with my friends. And that's a real testimonial to these cars, how strong they are and how safe it is.
And you know what, guys? I can hear it now when he shanks one. You know, ow, my hip. Oh. But seriously, it's good to have you not only out with the racing okay, but see you run as well as you did today, Bobby.
This is good for at least a few strokes, guys.
Bob?
Well, Bobby Rahal on his way to Scotland for a bit of golf, but it is amazing, isn't it, to step out of a shunt at that sort of speed around a track like this. The track that really, I think, all of the drivers, the teams, everybody gets more anxious about. The speeds being run here, the potential for disaster is so high. And remember that horrific accident. There's Carpentier slowing down. Carpentier has just been passed by Scott Pruitt and by Paul Tracy. Carpentier losing a lot of speed just there. Now he's down on the inside of the racetrack as well. Carpentier, what is going on here?
Definitely a problem there for Patrick Carpentier. He is definitely off the pace, and low down there goes Brian Herter flashing past him as well. Carpentier on his way into the pits, and we've got a battle for the lead there now with Scott Pruitt, and right on his tail is Paul Tracy.
Paul Tracy, who started so far down, who seemed to be in so much trouble on this track with the car, suddenly comes into contention for the race lead. There comes Carpentier into the pits. Are we going to get any idea? Was it just running out of fuel, or is it something more serious? Let's see as the fuel goes aboard and the tyres are on. Is it, no, they've now, that is when they start checking the engine cover. Always do the basics first and then start to look at the problem. And it is a problem for Patrick Carpentier. We've seen cars actually run out of fuel on their stints and still go on to win here in the past, haven't we, Jeremy? Scott Goodyear did that some years ago.
Yeah, you can come back from a lap down here and still win the race. And of course, Mauricio Gugelmin had that problem early on. He lost 4 laps there and gained 1 back for a while, but then his car seemed to go away from him again. But meanwhile, let's not lose focus here. Here's the battle for the lead. There is Scott Pruitt, there is Paul Tracy, and a little bit behind there, and Alex Zanardi hot on his tail. And there is Mark Blundell, once again running fantastically well there in 5th place in the Motorola Reynard Mercedes.
Yeah, Blundell's there once again, as you say, not far behind Herter and Zanardi. There are Herter and Zanardi. Zanardi now lining up Brian Herter for the pass down into turn 1, and it looks as though it's going to be fairly straightforward, or is it? No, because Herter comes back again, that outside groove working perfectly well for the Reynard of Brian Herter. Similarly mounted Reynard with Alex Zanardi going for the inside into turn 3. This time he makes it look fairly easy as he goes for the inside pass.
That's horsepower. That's Honda horsepower there. And there's Mark Blundell. I think Brian Herter was forced to ease off a little bit. And there comes Mark Blundell alongside Brian Herter as they flash past start-finish line and into turn 1, side by side into turn 1.
Great stuff. Mark Blundell makes the place. He goes up into 4th position now, and so the race leader is Scott Pruitt. 2nd is Paul Tracy. Those two very close together. Then it's Zanardi. Now Blundell in 4th place. Brian Herter goes back to 5th position, and Gilles de Ferran is the other car of the leaders that is still on the lead lap. Let's hear from Christian Fittipaldi now.
You correct the cost of that tire?
Yeah, it was a pit area, pit error. The wheel came off, and fortunately enough, I was going very slow on the apron. I was just exiting the pits. It happens. Like, there's not a lot you can say. Today really wasn't like a great day. We were running 9th, but we were 2 laps behind. I think if I had lasted the whole race, probably I would have finished 4th or 5th, something like that.
Tough break for him, guys. Remember, this is the first time that he hasn't finished with any points in a 500-mile race.
So that's a blow to his record books, isn't it? He's always scored points in 500 milers before, but this time it's not to be, as these top 4 cars are remarkably close after so much racing. 150 laps about to go into the book, with 100 laps still to go, and we've certainly seen the field decimated by reliability problems, particularly the gearbox troubles that have caused so many retirements here this afternoon, and which mean really that we have just 6 cars on the lead lap, but any one of those 6 cars could still win, and even possibly some of the other guys who are further down could come into contention later on. Pruitt versus Tracy, that's the battle that we're watching at the moment, and they're going past some of the slower cars. Look at that.
Yeah, either side of those two, there's Aunt Maya flew. Oh dear, they guess Pruitt past the inside of Aunt Maya. Now Paul Tracy looks the inside coming off turn 2, but Tracy forced to lift off in the middle of the corner there, lost a lot of momentum. There is Zanardi flashing past Maya down the inside of Paul Tracy into turn 3. Second place for Alex Zanardi.
All because Paul Tracy had to back off going past the back markers, lost the momentum, and Alex Zanardi said thank you very much, and with a bit more of an Italian accent, and he went past very easily as Scott Pruitt now leads. Zanardi second, Tracy back to 3rd, and Mark Blundell in 4th, so he now can go chasing after Tracy. I don't think that Paul lost that much momentum that Mark's going to be able to close up on him. No, not quite. You can see Mark Blundell just to the back of that group in the red and blue car. But still, this is a fascinating battle, and of course now Zanardi catching up to Pruitt. And remember, slightly different strategies we're seeing here, because Zanardi and Blundell came in on that last yellow, whereas Pruitt didn't, did he?
No, and that is, as you say, very interesting indeed. Pruitt allowed another sort of 7 or 8 laps of green flag racing before that previous yellow, and I think he could probably go another 10 or 15 laps perhaps before he has to come in, but certainly Alex Zanardi and Mark Blundell will be able to run a little bit longer.
Here we go, change of lead coming up, the Honda horsepower again there, Jeremy. There you can see Zanardi just slipstream up, use that extra power and blast past Scott Pruitt. He made it look so easy, didn't he? Didn't look any trouble at all, and it's Zanardi who comes round as leader. Let's hear from Patrick Carpentier now.
Did you prove something to yourself that you could run with these guys in these big races?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't test before we come here. We put the car on the racetrack, and as much as it was hard for us on the street circuits, my engineer did the magic job. I mean, no testing with full tank, everything, just half an hour. Put the car on the track, and I seriously believe I had the best car. Today I was flat out easily. It was just lifting to let the engine breathe. But we had an electrical failure, and that was it for us.
I think he can't wait to get another opportunity. Nice job, young man.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a great job from Carpentier today, but look at this. Pruitt is now seems to be struggling a little bit for pace, because Paul Tracy is catching right up behind him, but not quite enough, and now Tracy loses the momentum, that is, and now Mark Blundell's got the momentum on Paul Tracy, and Mark Blundell goes to the inside. He's got the chance to go past the championship leader. He doesn't need a second invitation, and Mark Blundell now goes into 3rd place.
Mercedes against Mercedes there, and Mark Blundell, though, able to get the momentum coming off turn 2, runs high off turn 3. That's the preferred line off this racetrack, down past start finish line. 155 laps in the book. Mark Blundell into 3rd place now, ahead of Paul Tracy.
Oh, what a great drive this is from Mark Blundell at the moment. He's done well here in the past, finished in 5th place in the US 500 last year, 6th place in the Marlboro 500. So in the points, well up in the points in both races he's done here in the past, and he's always cited this as his favourite oval because of those good results. It seems to be going well at the moment, but we've still got some 85 laps to go. So there's Alex Zanardi with the lead of this race by 1.3 seconds last time around, just going past Max Papis. And I have to say that, Jeremy, we've been giving Toyota a hard time on reliability. We saw one of the Toyota engines blow up very dramatically earlier on, but in this hard, oh, look at this, Blundell, better get back to the action here. Blundell now going for 2nd with Scott Pruitt. You ride with Scott Pruitt. Look how close they are at 230 miles an hour. And this time, as they go past Max Papis, it just dropped back another length or 2, but he might get a good run off turn 2. Let's watch them as they go up the back straight and up in towards turn 3.
flat out down the backside, around about 240 miles an hour, 14,500 revs into the corner here in the middle of turns 3 and 4. Certainly in the middle of that corner there, Mark Blundell able to pinch his car down a little bit lower than Scott Pruitt. Scott Pruitt's car running higher, he tries to get a draft off of Dennis Fittipaldi.